Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's podcast, where I'm delighted to be joined by Rachel Young. And this is going to be a little bit different. I don't even know where this is going to go.
Could go anywhere.
Could go anywhere. What we're going to talk about today is both Rachel and I have had a very similar experience in that in our mid-20s. Well, I'm 57. Actually, I have no idea how old you are, Rachel. I'm
55.
55.
We go.
55. Look amazing.
That's thank you.
Zoom, isn't it? We can do some touch up if we need to. But both of us have recently. Now, here we go, because I'm going to call it a diagnosis, and I don't want to call it a diagnosis, and we'll talk about that. But we've both been for an assessment of ADHD and have both come out as the dual one, and it's combination. That's it.
That's it.
ADHD. And we thought, well, we can't be the only ones in the world. And so we thought we'd share our stories and what that actually feels like. To be honest, though, this is the first time I've probably addressed this. So if we have tears, I have tissues on standby, because I've actually got no idea how I'm going to react to this.
Yeah.
Or where I'm going to go with it. And Rachel, perhaps you feel the same.
Yeah. And my diagnosis, even though I had an official diagnosis by somebody who was training a while ago, so my brain's had a bit of time to sort of get used to it. My official diagnosis, we're going to talk about that word, is fairly recent. So it was, as happens, you got the diagnosis. Okay, what's next? Let's crack on with life. So there hasn't been a chance to think about it, to talk about it. So yes, who knows where this is going to
go. Exciting. Maybe our listeners are probably quite pleased it's not live, and that that I can edit some of it out if we need to, although I edit very little in the podcast. So let's have that life's difficult conversation. I think life's difficult conversation showed up initially, and I'm going to blame you totally. Let's go into blame culture.
Oh, okay.
Because I think so. We've known each other I was trying to work this out the other day, about 8 years now.
Yeah, probably longer than that, actually. Yeah, but thereabouts.
Yeah. And I really got to know you when you used to come into the coffee shop. When we had the Giddy Go, and we employed some of the young people in your life.
Yes.
There as well. And it still does. The cafe's a great place for young people to go and work. And we started the Giddy Goat business group. So a group of us who are self-employed or running businesses came together. And it became, and it's still going now, which I love, it became a once-a-month place, didn't it, for us to all come together and talk about the struggles that we were having.
Yeah.
And during those conversations, I don't really know how it happened, but sometimes we talked about neurodiversity.
Yeah.
And we talked about shiny objects and chasing squirrels. And the more we talked about it, the more I was like, okay, this is interesting. Because my mum had said to me some years ago, I think you had ADHD. She worked in the school. One day she had to give ADHD tablets to, I think it was a young boy actually, in one of the classes. And she was reading through the medication and description of ADHD. And she literally said, oh my goodness, that's my Nick.
Right. Yeah.
She phoned me up to apologise. She phoned me up in tears, bless her. She was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't recognise it. I didn't know about it. And I didn't think anything more of it. I was teaching at the time, didn't think anything more of it, carried on with life. And then gradually, as I've become more aware, it led to a stage where you had been for an assessment. I'd been thinking about it. You recommended this company to me, who were excellent, by the way. Thank you for that. And even the lady who did the assessment. So thank you for that. So it kind of felt that the door was open for me to go and have the assessment. And that's how I ended up getting to where I got to.
Yeah.
What's your story?
Oh my goodness. I think so. I have 2 sons with autism. So I knew there was neurodivergence, or whatever we choose to call it, in my family. And then my daughter had some medical issues that she had to deal with. And I know the 2 different consultants said, have you had her assessed for either ADHD or autism? I'm thinking, well, she's just like me. I know that my sons have struggles, but my other son and her, they're just like me. And actually, then I started to look at it and think about it and think about actually maybe it is something we need to look at, which then starts you thinking about yourself. Well, if this is the case, as you research it more and more, you think, well, actually, that explains so many things in my life. Maybe I'll go for the assessment too. And surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. Here we
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
And it always made me laugh because you very gently, like every time I did an online assessment, you'd very politely ask me, "Oh, and what was the result?" And I say, "Oh yeah, it's showing that I've got traits." So just to explain, I did quite a lot of those free online assessments. I must have done between 10 and 15. I
Yeah.
don't know what I was expecting. Each one maybe a different result. But all the results were the same. And you'd very politely say, yes, yes, perhaps. And when we were talking about it in our business group meeting, other people in there were like, yes, perhaps, Nick. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I don't think it came as a surprise to anybody.
I don't think they did.
And it's
It
funny
often
because,
takes us a while to see what others can.
yes, I know it's so funny, isn't it?
Yeah,
It is funny. So you ended up having your assessment, and it showed that you have ADHD. Let's talk about this word diagnosis.
yeah.
I don't know why I'm struggling with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we both went to something recently put on by our community hub around, it was actually about autism, but it was about
Yeah,
divergency. And he said, let's treat it like a culture rather than a diagnosis. And I really liked that. And
yeah,
he explained how challenging it was for people to fit in a culture when it's not their culture.
yeah.
And that took me right back to my school days. And
Mm,
like, oh, okay, that's interesting. This is why perhaps I found school so challenging.
yeah,
And yeah, and I really like that. So let's talk about this word diagnosis. Why am I
yeah.
struggling with the word diagnosis?
I don't know. And I think, as you say, as you were talking there, I got this little bubble of anger come up because the chap that we saw, he was brilliant, wasn't he? Really informative. And one of the things that, as a mum, that's always been so distressing for me to observe is that my boys are diagnosed with autism, and there's been other diagnoses since, there's that word, but it's the fact that I knew that life in many ways would be harder for them because the world wasn't set up for them. It wasn't set up to embrace and accept the culture of autism or ADHD, maybe more so for ADHD than autism, depending on, how it manifests for you. But I think for me, it shouldn't have to be diagnosed. And I know I'm asking for huge changes, but the world isn't right. It isn't set up correctly for people to thrive who have autism and potentially ADHD. And so that word diagnosis shouldn't actually need to be there.
Yeah.
So I think that's where it gets me quite passionate.
Yeah.
Because
Tell
I've
me.
seen people struggle. I've seen my children struggle,
Yeah.
and myself on reflection, and find different ways to manage. And often you see people sort of floating through life, or particularly people with ADHD who seem to be achieving and doing really, really well. But if you took the mask away, underneath, you'd probably find chaos. You go, whoa, what's going on in there? And it's exhausting.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Yeah. They look like they're like smoothly running their business or their life, but underneath, as you say, it is actually actual chaos. And when you rip that mask away, and
Yeah.
that's one of the things I really reflected on was how exhausting it has been
Yeah.
without even really recognizing that it was exhausting.
Yeah. And I think for you, as many women in particular, I think you've been a high achiever. You've pushed for the things that you've wanted, you've driven, but you have put, I remember you telling me when you wanted a particular role, you put everything. You showed up and you showed up and you showed up and you gave more and more, and you were always available. And I think that's often a thing that people with ADHD can do. Obviously, everybody's different, but it's like, I need to give more, to do more, to be seen, so that, I don't know, so that I'm recognized, because it's that for many people, the ability to sort of organize, to be clear, you're always doubting yourself.
Yeah.
And often there's an expectation of failure in there alongside perfectionism. And I know I'm not talking for everybody. I'm maybe talking for us too here.
Yeah.
But it at times it's a real driver. But then I think you reach a certain age where you go, I don't think I can do it at that pace anymore. Something's got to change. And I know that comes alongside perimenopause, menopause, age. They all sort of crash in together, and part of your brain goes, not working anymore. Try something different.
Yeah, that's really interesting because, and it wasn't until I had my conversation with the lady that was doing the assessment, she was asking questions, that I had really thought about any of this. Thank you for calling me a high achiever. That's very
You
good.
are.
There's a couple of things I just want to pick out from that. You're absolutely right. I always threw 1,000,000,000% into something once I'd made a decision that that is what I was going to do. So, for example, I became like the first female in the UK to get transferred straight into firearms without any firearms training, and then was only one of 7 women out of 650. And then that negotiation role, I wanted that full-time negotiation role, put myself on call. And that comes at a cost.
Yeah.
Because then when I became the director of UK training and threw myself into all of that, every time I had a break, I would be super ill, proper full-on flu. I had sclerosis all over my skin one year. I couldn't get out of bed, and it was always at Christmas. It was always, I managed to get, unless I was on call, if I got any time off at Christmas, I would just literally collapse. So I was no good to anybody. When I reflect on that, that's so if any of this is ringing true to you, that you're listening in, then just be kind to yourself, I think. And then the other thing, when you said about that self-doubt, constant voice in your head, you were the first person, and I'll remember it clear as day, standing on the car park forecourt of the garage not so long ago, and you were talking, and you said, "Oh, I had a conversation with my son, and I explained to him that actually the voices in his head, not everybody gets them."
Yeah.
And I was like, "I'm sorry." You what?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, and I've since gone on to learn that 35% of people don't have voices in their head.
It's bizarre to consider, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, mine is so busy.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's it. The remaining percentage, some of those, they have voices that just sort of plod along and have a little chat. And even that, it's like, oh, that would actually be quite nice, rather than bing, 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 going on all the time. Yeah. I know my son, he came back to me. I said to you, he came back to me a few weeks later, and he said, that thing you told me about not everybody has all of this noise and voices in their head. I said, yeah. He went, I wish you'd never told me about it. It's doing my head in. I can't deal with it.
I'm now having a conversation in my head about the fact there are no voices in my head. In other people's heads. Am I normal? Am I not normal? What's that all about? Yeah. And I've done a lot of personal development on myself, probably since my early 40s, where I recognized that I had that negative, for me, mainly mine was negative self-talk a lot of the time, why am I different? What is this? Have I upset somebody? Overanalyzing things.
Yeah.
And that is so tiring.
Yeah.
And when I was having the assessment, the lady said, look, do you overanalyze? And I'm like, oh my word, yes. And the other thing she talked about was time.
Oh.
He said, do you have a problem with time? And I said, no, I don't actually. I said, when I was younger, I did. But to the point where my sister refused to get in the car with me to go to school because we were always late and always getting in trouble. But then I joined the police cadets, you see.
Yeah.
And so instilled in me. And she said, yeah, what we find a lot of time with people with ADHD is to overcompensate. They're there about an hour early. And I was like, that's me. I do that all the time. Yeah, here I am. Sorry, I'm 2 days early.
We've got a problem with that. What are you talking about? Time for me, time is the bane of my life. It is a real big issue. And I think, interestingly, we were talking about, and I'm trying not to go off topic here as another thought pings in.
Yeah.
it was always something I found that was sort of used to, I'm not going to say bash you over the head with. We were talking about the fact that you always feel like you're failing, always not quite making it, always not quite getting where you want to. So you try harder and harder and harder. And that can instill this sense of not enough or failure. And I remember all throughout my life, now I did have lots of little children. So I used to think, I used to try so hard to get them all ready to get out the door. And, there'd always be a lost shoe or someone needed a poo or this, that, and the other. But I was always known for being late. And people go, oh, it's Rachel. Oh, she'll be late. And I used to laugh, but it really used to hurt me so much. And I used to try so hard. I'm going to be on time. That it still happens now. I'm sort of skin on my teeth just before I leave the house. I can do 7 more things before I leave. And then like, where's the time gone? But that's a really tricky one. And it's a really difficult one to manage because there's literally no concept. 5 minutes could be 45 minutes and it's gone.
Yeah.
So there's a few things that I'm talking about there, the time management difficulty, the always being late or always being super early, but also the impact. There's a lot of judgment around it. A lot of people have the opinion that if you are late, then you are rude, disorganized. So there is a lot of judgment. And I get that if you sort of don't understand it. But there's a lot of work goes on to actually get to places on time.
Yeah, there is. There is a lot of work, and it's interesting you say that because when I was a police cadet, they are the exact things that people said to me.
Yeah,
if you're late, you're unprofessional. People will not want to work with you.
Yeah,
and I had that drummed into me. And of course, as a police officer, you can't be late.
Yes,
for certain things because people rely on you, and so you would be early. So I now go to the complete extreme.
Yeah.
Sometimes I will try and cram if it's like if I'm coming to something that's local, I'm generally borderline.
Yeah.
If it's something where I've got to travel, I'll clear my diary.
Yeah.
So I don't have anything in it. And I have a plan from start to finish.
Yeah.
I've got an electric car, so I plan, right, where am I going to stop? How long am I going to stop for? What does that look like? That will get me here at this time. What does that look like? That gives me all of this time to do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
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 So I've learned to plan that out, and I'd never thought about it. Never thought about it before.
But that's the external planning, isn't it? To compensate for the struggles internally. Yeah. I often find if I have an appointment sort of late in the afternoon, my whole focus is on, well, I can't really do this because I've got this appointment. But then right before it, I'm like, actually, I could just wash up. I could just do this. I could just reorganize my wardrobe and then I'm out the door. But yeah, those external things that you put in place are so important. I had a look at your diary yesterday, didn't I? And it was like, knocked out step by step of what you're going to do.
Yeah, and it's all color coded as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that I know what to do. Yeah, and I still miss things. I can get so focused. I missed an appointment the other week. I was so focused. I was actually dropping the mobility scooter down to a friend of ours and for her mum to use. I was so focused and so wrapped up in that. And I checked my diary the day before, the night before, the morning.
Yeah.
Seen it, but I just got caught up in something else.
Yeah.
And then you get that whole, I felt awful. I phoned up immediately. I was like rescheduling appointments. I blew it all out of proportion. I became the unprofessional that nobody would want to work with.
Yeah.
Conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that brings you down and that becomes really tiring.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting.
That makes me think about sort of friendships over the years, because I know a lot of people with ADHD struggle with maintaining friendships. I would say I have those, the friends that I do have are the ones that can rock into my house, make themselves a cup of tea, don't see the mess, understand that just because I haven't texted them back, it doesn't mean that I don't love them. And I don't think that, because I do dearly, I love dearly, and, I love my friends. But I know over the years, I have lost a lot of friendships not because I don't care, but because I haven't done the friendship thing in the right way, as in, messaging straight away or giving the right amount of time to them. It just, so I think that's another way that it can impact that has been challenging.
Yeah, I don't know that I've had that because I'm pretty good at messaging. As long as I do it straight away and I don't let it go by the by. And I have a handful of friends that I keep in contact with regularly, and I'll go, oh, okay, actually, I need to just reach out to make sure it's okay. And how did you find it showed up in your childhood?
Well, I think that was interesting because the typical presentation of ADHD is sort of bouncing off the ceiling. But back in my day, our day, it was the naughty kids, wasn't it? Which was generally boys. For me, I know I danced a lot. I was very active, or always sort of busy. But actually at school, I was very focused, very much a pleaser. I was hardworking, often frequently lost things, didn't know where things were, frequently late, all of those things. But actually in school, you wouldn't really have necessarily noticed me so much. Out of school, as I became a little bit older, we're not going to talk about that because the times were a little bit wild.
Thank goodness there was no social media, right?
Thank goodness. But even as I was saying to the lady that assessed me, I said, oh, I've never told anybody these things. I can't get into trouble now, can I? And she went, well, it makes sense because you were seeking that dopamine, that adrenaline pump. I was like, okay, so I wasn't just bad. I labeled myself as bad and there was something wrong with me because I was doing all of these ridiculous things. It makes sense now. So yeah, to the to the adult eye, I was very good, focused, but I know internally I was always restless. Used to double maths on a Wednesday. Oh my Lord. All double lessons on a Wednesday. It used to, I don't know, I used to drag myself to school and I would spend my times imagining running across the fields and cartwheeling across the fields. So yeah, but I know it was slightly different for you, wasn't it, in your
Yeah, so
school?
I was quite fidgety. So I was always being told by my mum to stop fidgeting. They were the words, Nick, will you stop fidgeting? Nick, can you stop fidgeting? Nick,
Yeah.
can you keep that leg still? Can you please stop fidgeting? I had a lot of energy as a kid. I wasn't able to regulate my emotions in my
Mm.
younger days. I remember my mum saying that I know she found me quite difficult. I know for sure that
Mm.
my mum did. And yeah, and of course she had no idea what was going on, couldn't understand why I had this full on energy, probably from the moment I came out the womb,
Yeah.
where I was
Mm.
just like causing chaos, ripping up, I'd destroy things, rip things up, didn't know how to handle those emotions at all, was very, my sister, I think, put it very well. She said, every photograph we have of you as a teenager, you just look angry.
Mm.
And I
Mm.
think I think I was just angry. I hit puberty at 11, so I was still in my middle school.
Mm.
So all of that was really confusing. And I think that's one of the things that's really struck me more is I feel sorry for little Nick, for younger Nick,
Yeah.
because I get it now. And as an adult, I feel that I'm better equipped to handle it. But
Yeah.
as a young person, not
Mm.
understanding, always feeling you're a little bit different. And this is interesting because I always felt I was a little bit different because I was gay and I didn't know I was gay.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm not so sure that's what it was.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
now,
And
yeah.
and that's really it's that you've mentioned that a couple of times and something I always felt as well. I'm a little bit different. I'm just on the outside. I could connect with groups, but then I would always step away for many different reasons, but didn't ever quite feel like I fitted. But I have a question off the back of that.
Yeah.
So, having spoken about little Nick,
Hmm.
and you actually feel sorry for her because now you understand, it sort of brings us back to the beginning about, what do you think and feel about your assessment, your diagnosis? We need to find a different word
Yeah.
in that
Assessment's okay,
context.
actually. Yeah, assessment's okay. And it's a long report. Gosh, I read that report and I was like, that's a long report.
Yeah,
That's interesting. And things that people observe about you that I hadn't observed about myself, which again was interesting. How did I feel? So my mum said to me, were you nervous before you had the assessment? And I was. I was
yeah.
really nervous. And I don't know why.
Mm,
Just because it wasn't going to change my life or who I am or what I do.
yeah,
So, but I was nervous. And then when I got the assessment and she said, yes, you have ADHD,
yeah.
I could have cried.
Yeah.
I felt relieved.
Uh-huh.
In fact, I can feel a bit emotional now.
Yeah.
I felt relieved. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I get it now. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is it that you get? So you said you felt that relief, and I can see now you're getting a bit, there's some
Hmm.
emotion behind there.
Yeah, there is a lot of emotion behind that.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to work out what that emotion is.
Yeah.
And I've been almost through like that grief process,
Mm,
that a little bit of denial. Oh, it didn't really affect me. It can't possibly have affected me. A little
mm,
bit of anger, like
mm,
this is why I really struggled with my O levels,
yeah.
GCSE. Now, this is why I couldn't do maths. This is why I didn't turn the page over in my music exam. I always
Yeah.
remember that sitting there. I'd finish like 40 minutes before everybody else. And I was like looking around the room as you do, twiddling,
Yeah.
finding something to play with.
Mm.
Um, and then I went, the
Oh,
whole page still to
oh
go.
no.
And I had like 5 minutes left at the end. So it's those little things that recognizing. So I always joke when I give presentations and keynotes, I always say, I went to school for three things: chatting, music, and sport.
Yeah.
Now I know why I went to school
Yeah.
for three things: chatting, music, and sport.
Yeah.
Because they were the things that my brain accepted and could deal with.
Mm.
So yeah, and so the relief was, okay, it helps me to understand.
Yeah.
But that was a relief. And even now, as an adult, it was like, okay, I get that now. And then I'm definitely at acceptance. Been through, did I get a bit flat? I don't think I got a bit flat about it. I think I'm more, I think that, I think because the world understands it more now.
Mm.
And I think there are other people like your good self. In fact, if anybody in my business group that's listening to this, I think when I look around at that group of entrepreneurs, I think a lot of entrepreneurs are the same.
Yeah.
It, but you see traits in a lot of people,
Yeah. Absolutely.
and I
Yeah.
think that as my sister said, we're probably all on the spectrum somewhere along the line. It's just where we sit and where we fit.
Mm.
Yeah, there was a definite sense of relief, a definite greater understanding, and still I'm reading and learning and researching. I understand now about the dopamine hit because I am a big dopamine hit kind of person. Huge.
We can see it in the business meeting when you sit there, you go, I've got a new idea. And I'm like, wow, let's buckle up here. This is going to be good and big.
Yeah, and the ideas get bigger and bigger and bigger as I get older and older and older. At the age of 90, who knows what I'll be opening a new country.
And we'll go, we believe in you.
Yeah.
We know you'll get there.
And it explains why I don't follow through on the finite details and the admin and all those things bore me. But I've recognized that. I used to think it's because I wasn't good at business and that
Yeah.
wasn't me. But now I have the amazing project coordinator in my life, Charlene.
Yeah.
She does those jobs, so I don't have to worry about them.
Yeah.
And so I'm more likely to follow through on a project now.
That's something that I need. I need a lady like you've got. I need your
Yeah,
Charlene.
you do. You need a
That's
project.
the tricky. The
Yeah.
therapy work, I love it. There can be something really quite complicated, somebody very distressed, and I can really engage with that. It's almost like that there's and this isn't me diminishing people to problems, but it's something quite complex that we need together to find a way through. And that really lights me up, and the connection with the clients, I love it. But the invoicing, the admin, the emailing, it's really, really very challenging. And it's that typical ADHD thing of where, you've got emails to send, and it's if you actually just can't do it until the pressure's there. And then you've got to boom. Or if you leave something too long, then you start to feel, I've left it too long now. How am I going to reconnect with this person? So yeah, we all need it's finding the support where you need it, isn't it?
Yeah.
That external thing again. How do I manage this with external support?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think over the years, like I've accidentally put those mechanisms in. Like I now know that physical training for me is a must. And it always has been a must ever since I was young. And structure for me is also a must. If I have structureless days, I free fall.
Yeah.
That's when I'm likely to just go and spend a load of money, sign up to a course that I probably don't need, do something random, get bored, get annoying.
Yeah.
Structure for me, it is also really key. And what about you, Rachel? How did you feel when you got your assessment?
That's why I asked you the question, because I have no idea.
You're still processing.
Still processing. I do remember that there was, it's interesting you mentioned the anger. The anger was there. So I suppose two things that you've mentioned, the compassion, which is key for that younger me, particularly that young mum. See, I'm getting emotional now, particularly that young mum who was in a pretty horrible marriage at the time, but had 4 beautiful young children, all 2.5 years apart, which is enough for anybody, but always feeling like I was failing. I wasn't doing enough. It was as if I had to fill my life with so much that I was valued and valuable, but always looking around thinking, well, how come they can manage it? How come they can cope? And I can't. And not cope in the sense of I did cope and I enjoyed those moments, although much of it is a blank. But yeah, there was always that feeling of other people can do it better. And I always knew that I used to even say, actually, organization is not a strength for me. I was always aware it took so much brain power to organize things. So there was that awareness there. So there is the compassion. And I think that's a key thing, because that's what the diagnosis has given me. Whenever I am critical, oh, you're late again. Why are you always late? Why have you lost your keys? You've just found them. Constantly losing things. In this household, anyone see where is my from every direction? It's like a comedy sketch, but it's not funny. But rather than, you're so stupid, why can't you just, I'm working on switching that around. Well, do you know, Rachel, it's the way your brain works. As hard as this is, you'll get there, you'll find them. So it's turning that language around, I think, is key. And the anger as well. And the anger, it didn't last long, but it was all of those people who had criticized me, despite me always trying my best, for not being as organized as they were, or for not showing up on time as consistently as they would like. I get that one, but all of that, there was an anger there. And it's like I wanted to go back to them all and go, there was a reason. Yes. You didn't see how hard I was working to try and get it right, and yet in your eyes I still got it wrong. So there was a little bit of that there, which I had to clear quite quickly. But yeah, I think that the key thing for anybody who's diagnosed, I would say, is check in on that internal voice. And if it is being harsh and critical, look at it through a new lens, look at it through the ADHD understanding lens, because I think that can be so helpful.
Yeah, I think that is a beautiful place to leave this conversation, Rachel, because I could actually talk about this all day.
Yeah.
We'd be disrupting and interrupting everybody's life as they listen, as we go off and talk about different topics here, there, and everywhere. If you have been affected in any way by this, then there will be some places to reach out to at the bottom of the notes. But thank you again, Rachel, for your time. I always call you my favourite therapist.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed the conversation. I'm really grateful for it. And
thank you,
Nicky. Again soon. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
If you have in any way been affected by today's podcast episode, there are numbers at the end of the transcript which you can contact. We'd like to thank you all for listening. And if you'd like to join our Facebook group, there is also a link to that in the notes that go with this podcast. Have a great day.